typically how a fireside chat works is there's a moderator and obviously an interview. And I've always wanted to do this, and Kim and I wanted to do something different this year to kind of tell her journey in creating this company, as well as some of the lessons she's learned along the way, in hopes that this might help some of you young professionals who are getting ready to graduate, start your own business, enter the finance industry. So that's going to be the format. It'll be about 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll move on to our next speaker. So without further ado, my first question for you, Kim, is when did you know you wanted to be your own boss?
Well, that's a very interesting question. I don't know if you ever really know you want to be your own boss. I think it really evolves. I started out in the retail business in Neiman Marcus, and I started connecting with people, and I really enjoyed it. And an opportunity came along when I was actually working in a hotel, and I had a Fortune 500 company come in, and I had a lot of CEOs that were speaking. And I spoke to the CEO there, and I said, I'm on my way to see a conference in New Orleans. And he said, you know, if I were you, he said, you really run a great meeting here with these CEOs. I'd look at starting the conference business. So really it started when I went to a conference, and I was inspired by the speeches. And I thought to myself, I could do this. I never really thought about the content at the time. I really thought about the business and the event planning side. I was thrilled with people. I liked making people happy. And it just basically evolved from there. It was never that I'm going to be my own entrepreneur. It was an opportunity that came along.
And how have those people affected your life to get you where you are today? So my question is, you've had tremendous success in your life, not just in our business, but in real estate and other businesses. You're very philanthropic as well. How have those lessons and those choices you made early on in your career led you to today? You talked about people and how people have affected your life today, finding a mentor, you mentioned in your welcome remarks. Mm-hmm. What choices did you make that you felt have really fueled that success in your life?
Well, I would say that the one thing that I've done probably pretty effectively is to, like your teachers, okay, your professors. How many of you have favorite professors? Raise your hand. Okay. So as you go out there, and let's say you're inspired by technology, or let's say you're inspired by the financial markets, identify those people out there that make a difference for you. You know, if it's Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook, or if it's Jeff Bezos from Amazon, follow their career, follow their remarks, follow their earnings call. Make sure you dig deep with whoever you choose in the field of interest that interests you, and then find them, email them, contact them. I had a young woman come to me, and she said, I want to get into Facebook. I'd like to work there. It's my passion. And I said to her, then start at the top. Don't start at the bottom. Start at the top. Start emailing. You know, get out to the top executives. Go to the CIO. Go to the CFO. Make a difference. Send a book. Do something that stands out. And that's really what you did.
Right.
You came at the age of 22 to our company as an intern, and he took on the challenge, which has just brought such great joy to me. And you can see that in my remarks, because I really care about all of you. You are going to change the world, and I am thrilled about that. I can't wait to enjoy all the things you're going to bring to my world. This young man said, I want to educate millennials, and I said, go for it. I gave him the chance. I said, let's see what it's all about. Mm-hmm. He created it. He made it happen. He was going to college at the time. He has finished his degree online, and he came to me and he said, I don't want to finish college. I actually want to work for your company because I'm so inspired by it. And I'm going to share something with you. He is so good at what he does. He's the first young man that I have found that really gets the essence of our company and our passion. And he's now on my executive team. It's been 3.5 years. He's created all of you. And I look at him as our future CEO. He's brilliant. And I treat him that way because he teaches me.
It's an important lesson, and thank you for those kind words. Because when I was an intern, I was very annoying.
Yes, he was.
I was extremely annoying and persistent on what I wanted, and I didn't quite understand exactly what that was yet. But I didn't fully think that where I was in college and school was getting me that fulfillment and that sense of purpose that I was looking for. So, my advice to all of you that are getting ready to graduate, and by no means I do not want you to drop out of college to go find an internship. That's not the message.
But you have graduated your college.
I have, but I want you
and
guys.
I discouraged you from dropping out.
You did. I very much so wanted to drop out.
I don't want to be responsible for that.
No, my parents would have been very upset. So
yes, I know your
father.
father. He would have killed me.
Yeah, he would have been. But the important part about it all is that, being persistent, and, I did not understand exactly, I did not have the qualified skill set when I first started at your company, but what I did have was the ability to learn and the ability to listen. And I think watching everything you did and finding that mentor, I find myself constantly mimicking it, and then doing it myself. And, getting someone in your life like that is so critical, I think, to the success, especially our generation. So it's very important that you guys find someone today, tomorrow, go to an event. There's a lot of networking events at your school. Go out there and seek someone, and don't be afraid to do it, because the worst they can tell you is no. And then you just move on.
How many of you are interested in the financial field? Raise your hands. Okay.
Interesting. How many of you want to start your own business?
That's fabulous. That's fabulous.
About 50-50.
This world, our world, the US of A, and I cannot stress this enough, was built on the backbone of small business. And you all can make a big difference.
Absolutely.
I am very much a part of that.
Well, speaking of that, my next question to you is, a lot of entrepreneurs have an aha moment. And I wanted to know, when did you have a big win in your career, and how did you know you were doing the right thing? How did you know that this is what you were meant to do?
Well, I would probably say that it took me 9 years to basically break $1 million in the business. And the aha moment was when I actually created MoneyShow. Originally, we created this event to become a think tank so that individual investors could get an edge on the institutions. And we had a lot of originated thinkers, people that managed their own money. We never really did the Wall Street analysts. We always looked for those entrepreneurs that were very, very good at what they did. But I was really having a very difficult time, and I almost went bankrupt. I was like saying, oh my God, how am I going to pay the bills? What's going on? And I came up with a concept, which I believe whenever you disrupt a market, and I think that you millennials do it all the time, so I'm so happy to see it. When you disrupt a market, the potential of growth is exponential. Mm-hmm. And I came out with the opportunity of the MoneyShow. And instead of charging people for education, I made it free. And basically it revolutionized the business.
And still today.
And still today. Mm-hmm.
Free.
And that was in 1989, and I started the company in 1981. And there were times I cried. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to pay payroll? What am I going to do? But I never gave up. I think that's a very important lesson. Never give up. Never give in. If you can't open one door, open another door. And remember, there's always different degrees of perception, right? Your perception may be very different than your perception of what I'm saying. And I don't believe really there's any right or wrong. I think everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Absolutely. My next question, and we've got just 2 more here. I want to ask you about something that a lot of you students are going to go through in the next year, which is hopefully getting hired to a company. How many of you guys currently have a job lined up when you guys graduate? Just raise your hand. How many of you guys will be graduating next year? Got it. So the question I want to ask you is, what is the biggest quality you look for in someone when you're hiring someone? What gets your attention?
Drive. fire. I want to see someone who can say to me, give me anything you've got and I'll get it done. I don't want to hear, I can't do it, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. I want to basically, I'm sick, I go to the office. Now, I don't want to get everybody infected. But drive is probably one of the biggest. Second thing is I also believe that every leader that is truly a leader learns from every single person they meet.
Right, absolutely.
Every single person they meet. There isn't a person in my company or around me that I'm not looking to learn something from, because every single one of you have a great quality. And I believe there's gold in everybody. I also look at balance. I look at a team that says, well, these people are a little weak in this and these people are a little strong in that, so if you put them together, it's a team. So I look for people that have compassion, that have teamwork, that the president of our company today knocked on our door. Our front desk said no, we weren't hiring, and he asked to meet with somebody. He pushed that envelope.
Right.
Like you pushing the envelope, I look for the push. And if you have the push and you have the drive, you're going to make it. And I also look for those people that really want to make a difference. I also ask in my interview, if you died tomorrow, how would you want to be remembered? It's an interesting question.
It's a very interesting question. Mm-hmm. You got to live each day to your fullest.
Absolutely.
Well, my last question for you is something you and I debate on all the time, which is on the markets. And I think it's very relevant. I'm a huge tech stock guy. And in the last week, we've seen the market, I think on Monday, drop a record 1,500 or 1,400 points, and then rebound on Wednesday another, 800 points, and then now yesterday drop another 800 points. So
market's down about 10%.
About 10%. So my question to you is, if you look at the S&P over the last 5 years, the trajectory is up. What would be your advice for, a millennial or someone young getting involved in the markets right now in terms of should they be afraid? Should they sell? Should they not enter the markets?
Let's ask a couple of questions. How many of you currently invest? Fabulous. All right. Now, what's the difference between investing and trading? Now, investing is kind of like buying value, buying and holding, kind of loving the stock, falling in love with it. I love Facebook, I love Twitter. I'm going to hold it for a while, regardless of its ups and downs and its volatility. How many of you do that? Raise your hands. Okay. And how many of you trade? Very interesting. Very interesting. So I'm on both camps. I'm an investor. I have a long-term portfolio that I enjoy, and in one of those portfolios, I've had stocks for as long as 10 or 15 years, and they're what I call my love, and I just love to love them. So I keep them, and on a trajectory basis, if you look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average for 120 years, you're going to see it continuing to go up. So if you buy value and you hold on, that's a great thing. I also love to trade. I'm an options trader. I enjoy it, and I'll tell you why I enjoy it. And I actually started in options fairly young because I didn't have a lot of money. So it really gave me a chance to invest in the market without putting up a lot of money. And I could analyze those stocks. I could listen to those, earnings calls, and buy some leaps on the long term and make some money. Today, I sell calls for income, which is great, and do a few things. But you're going to listen to some great people about options today. I would recommend highly Tom Sosnoff to all of you. Tasty Trade and Tasty Works. How many of you have ever heard of Tasty Trade? Raise your hands. How many of you logged on? I'm going to encourage you to log on to Tasty Trade. They really are an online financial media company that gives you daily mentorship for your trades, and they're terrific. So you'll learn a lot from them, and he's a very seasoned guy. But I'm not the prognosticator of the markets. I will give you my personal opinion. I believe we are in probably one of the greatest bull markets in history. I think you're in a secular bull market. And how many of you understand the word secular? Raise your hand. Okay. A secular bull market has bear markets into it. Secular bulls will run on average 14 to 17 years. I think one of our greatest bull markets in history was during the Reagan years from 1982 to the year 2000. And we saw an 1,100% increase in the equities market in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And in that period, there were a lot of bears. 1987, I think we had a 600-point correction. So you will see corrections. I think we are in a secular bull market. I would be buying some of my favorite things on these pullbacks.
Yep.
Now let me ask you a question. How many of you like sales? Yeah, I do too. Love going for sales.
She loves sales.
Well, let me tell you, my opinion is the stock market is on sale, so you should be buying. Because when prices go down, you're on sale. So that's what I would say.
Take Warren Buffett's advice.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, you buy when things are cheap.
That's exactly right.
That's right.
Well, thank you, Kim. I really appreciate you allowing me the opportunity to finally sit down and interview. I think this was a very productive discussion. And at this time, I'm going to move on to our next.
I'd love for you to give 2 questions from the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys have any questions for Kim before we move on to the next speaker?
For Jordan, too.
Well, I'll answer anything.
22-year-old entrepreneur over here.
I'm 24.
Yes. 24, he's been with me 2 years now.
Yes. I don't age well.
Yes, you do.
I do.
What do you like right now in the market?
Oh, what specific stocks? Oh, well, I'm probably going to tell you I like the financials. That's a sector. Probably one of my favorites is JP Morgan, Bank of America. I do like the technicals. I'm happy to see them selling off. I'm a long-term holder of Amazon, no question. I also like some global stocks in the technology area, Baidu being one of them, and some of the others, Alibaba. But those are some of my long terms. It's just financials and tech are the 2 I would probably give you. But you want to look at macro trends, right? You want to sit there and say, what is the president saying? Because policy drives a lot of things. So if infrastructure is something that they're looking to improve, or defense, you want to look at that sector as possibilities for investment, certainly.
I'll give you guys 2 good sources, and we'll answer your question next. If any of you guys want to go and visit MoneyShow.com, you just type in MoneyShow.com, you'll be able to find our top picks report, which is something we've been publishing for over 30 years. And what that is we actually reach out to our experts once a year, and we ask for their favorite stock pick for the coming year. So it's 100 stock picks from the nation's leading newsletter advisors. And historically, every year, it's beat the S&P. So I encourage you to go check it out if you want a shopping list of stocks to buy in 2018. The other thing I encourage you to go check out is Fortune magazine. They have something called the Investor's Guide. They publish every year. It's online, and it's just an amazing piece that gives you a great idea of terms of sectors, stocks.
And macro view.
Macro view. It's a very impressive piece. So I encourage you to check those out. You have a question in the back?
So you said that you had some very difficult trials in your early career. What got you through those times?
That was a very good question.
Is that for me or Kim?
Both.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I think my biggest challenge was making sure that I was doing the right thing. And, my challenge was I was fortunately raised with a lot of wealthy families around me. I'll share with you that, my family was very wealthy when I was growing up. Unfortunately, when I hit a certain age, my father, actually, our entire wealth was with a man named Bernie Madoff. I'm sure you guys have heard of Bernie Madoff before. And at, freshman year in high school, my family went through that. And we went from being on, literally private planes to, just nothing. And I think it was a real big wake-up call for me that I had to, my future was not set, put it that way. And the challenges I faced was making sure that the time I was spent in this career, at my internship, was the right time, that I was pursuing the right career, that I was going to make a salary, that I was eventually going to get paid, because I actually didn't get paid for 4 months. I actually told Kim I would work for free for 4 months before she actually, in December, I said, can you hire me, please? Please. So the challenges I had was just making sure I was doing the right thing. I wasn't wasting my time in a career that was going to go nowhere and then have to start all over again. And the way I assured myself that I was doing the right thing was I worked harder than anyone else around me. I did not know as much as they did, but I was constantly staying late, learning, and just taking every opportunity that came my way. Even if I had no idea what I was doing, I would make it look like I was doing the right thing, and really putting everything I had into this career, and then eventually creating meaningful work. Because in my life, there's two things that I want: is meaningful work and meaningful relationships. And I have meaningful work and I have meaningful relationships. So to me, that's happiness. So those are the things that I looked at in my early career, and still today, this is meaningful work to me, having all you guys here. So finding that in your life and then making sure you're doing the right thing. It's not about the money. I know people tell you that all the time, and it sounds silly, but money will allow you to retire and be miserable in some really nice places. That's it. So make sure you're doing the right thing. That's my advice to you.
For me, I would probably say that the people around me got me through it. My mentors got me through it. Because when you're at rock bottom, and there are times, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to get to rock bottom, always make sure you surround yourself with people that are stronger than you and can give you that helping hand. And so I started this company with a woman by the name of Deborah Rossard. She was my publisher. And she was a rock. I mean, I would call her at midnight. Yeah. And I would say, we're in trouble. And she would say, what are we going to do? Have a plan. You can work it out. And know this, that if it doesn't work, all right, if it doesn't work, if you keep hitting that wall, you try to go around. But sometimes it's not made to work. And that's okay too, because you don't see it, you think you see it, but you really don't. And when it isn't made to work, the door that can open in another area can be far more powerful.
Make sure you can pivot.
Yeah, make sure you can pivot.
Have a plan B.
Thank you.
At this time, we're going to move on to our next speaker. I want to thank Kim very much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank all of you. You're the best. Thank you.